So whenever I see the Okay, guys, welcome to Live and Kicking. I think this is episode 6, even though there wasn't really an episode 5. I'm going to have to apologise for some background noise that you might pick up today because there's a very serious game going on. It's refs, volunteers and coaches. I think a couple of us are going to get in after the show. We'll start today's show with a couple of memes. The first one is donated by New Zealand Underwater Hockey Memes. This one's for you, Fergus. Still haven't come to find me, mate. 77 kilos there. From Nick. Can you beat it? You had the record for a while. Second meme is courtesy or a shout out to the under 24 girls created by some of our guys backstage. Let's have a look at that one. When we're ready, we'll have a look at that one for the people backstage. From there we go. So this is for the under 24 girls, the Princess Sisters. Shout out to them. Now, I should say that I put a lot of effort into last night's show, and unfortunately, due to technical issues, someone didn't put any money in the machine or something. It didn't air. I had a really good time. We sat down, we did the whole show for an hour. I thought it was comedy gold. Only found out after we'd done the whole show that it didn't actually go out at all to anybody, apart from the one guy that was watching it backstage. Now, I'm sorry, guys, I'll introduce you in a second, but this is probably a bit more of a GB. I'm going to do some in-jokes to give you a summary of what we did yesterday. So we started off, we had Rachel Davis and Rosie Winter from the under-19 women's team. And the interesting thing there is that Rosie Winter, her great-grandfather was Alan Blake, who's the guy that invented underwater hockey. So we talked a little bit about some family connections there. And then we also had Tom Pitchforth, the under-24 men's captain. And I said, you know, talking about family, Tom. And then we can have a look at Tom's family tree here. Now, all of these people on that screen are in some way or another related to Tom Pitchforth. You can see Tom there kind of on the right.
Okay.
His brother's a volunteer here. His sister plays on the under-24 women's team. His mum is the coach of the under-19 women's. His dad plays for the Masters. His girlfriend, Vicky Adams, if we move over to the Adams family, she's here as a physio. Her brother is his teammate on the under-24 men's team. Their dad is the under-24 men's coach. His wife is here volunteering. Richard's co-coach is Phil Thompson, if you move over to the Thompson Sin Binners, and his son Harry is also on the team. Now you may notice at the bottom there's a little arrow that shot through there. That's Nathan Archer. I think Vicky has a bit of a thing for Nathan Archer, so there's a little connection there because Belinda Archer is also a co-coach of the under-19 women's team, and Chloe is his actual girlfriend who's also on the under-19 women's team. So we talked, I think if we can lose the VT now, we talked a little bit with the Kiwis about some families you've got there, like the Hockings and the Bavalars. So I wonder if we could get a similar kind of family tree for them.
Oh, we definitely already have one of those.
Yeah. We also had Bernie Tiling on the couch. This is really for the GB guys back home. I'm doing this now, sorry. And I got him to explain some memes like the following. Got him to tell us a story for these. If we can see those. He loved this one. He talked through this. That's basically because he's always late to every training session that we ever have. Walking in front of the camera there, bud. Doesn't matter. And then the next one, next meme. Going to explain this one. This is because he had a bit of a thing for Tommy when Tommy first came into the team. Young player, he's very excited. And then Harry came along last year and he turned all his attention to the new up-and-coming Harry Thompson. Anyway, sorry you guys missed the show. I was very proud of it, but there you go, you got a little taster there. Sorry guys, you've been sat there just like watching me waffle on. I'll introduce tonight's guest. So we got French under-24 women's coach, Berland Thomas, but everyone knows him as Tom. I didn't realise that Thomas wasn't your first name. New Zealand under-19 women's coach and basically underwater hockey knowledge base, Tristan Reynard. And South Africa support staff manager. Manager. And master commentator, I must say, Hein Engelbrecht. If you hear him on the commentary, he's a legend. So guys, maybe we can just pass the mic down. You can kind of introduce yourselves and tell us how you started with underwater hockey and your story going through. Hein, we'll start with you. When did you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Having 4 sons which all loved swimming, they ended up in underwater hockey, and it just grew from there. And being a very close knit family in South Africa, underwater hockey, once you get in, I think it's the loss of oxygen that just keeps you addicted to the sport.
Yeah.
And it just carried on. 2008, my eldest son was chosen to represent South Africa. And then the rest of the boys came through, and that's where we ended up. Obviously, Tom and Tristan also. I think it's very close family knit. You
As we saw.
retire, but you just can't get out. I don't know. You say
Yeah.
I'm finished this year, and next year you're back again.
Yeah.
I'm finished this year, and I can't see myself not being involved in some other way.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you. As I said, you're an absolute legend on the commentary. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's. Why don't we go to Tom now, and then I think Tristan's going to give us a bit of spiel about something else as well. Tom.
Okay, I started to play hockey maybe at 8 or maybe earlier.
Wow.
My father started playing hockey maybe at 30. There are pictures in my house of me playing hockey with a big stick. I'm only maybe 5 or 6.
Really?
So, and I really started at maybe 8 and never stopped since.
Yeah. And now you still play, right? You're in the winning Masters team, weren't you, last year?
Yeah. Last year in Quebec.
Yeah.
And I first started in the elite team in 2001, and then I played in 2008 in Durban.
Mm-hmm.
Good remember.
Yeah.
And 2013 I were in Eger.
Yep. Where you won?
I
Well
won.
done.
We won. Sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, as he said, as you start playing hockey, you can't stop. It's just,
Yeah. It's true.
I can't imagine my life without it.
Yeah. And how are you enjoying the coaching? Is this your first coaching gig?
2 years ago in Hobart, I was already the third coach, I should say.
Right.
And
Okay.
it was my beginning,
Uh-huh.
and I like it.
Yeah.
It's as tiring as to play.
Is it really?
Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. You see the hockey in different way.
Yeah.
It's you learn things just by watching and correcting. And
I think actually, yeah. On that note, I've learned actually quite a lot just from being here the last few days, and I'm not coaching, but I'm watching a lot of games. I'm actually, I do that, and I do this, and you kind of can learn from it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Why don't you go to Tristan now, and you can do the same kind of thing.
Yeah, well,
Watch your hand on the bottom there. I think it might lose the sound. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
yeah. So Tristan Ranad, I started in high school actually in New Zealand in 1985,
Wow.
and then so the lady Jill Ford started in the schools in Wellington there, built a league up, and turned up to a college or a secondary school, which from a swimming club, so swimming background. And of course they turn up, the boys from the swimming club go play water polo, go play underwater hockey, and then just went through school. And so that's kind of where I started. And then New Zealand were playing Australia, and we were trying to organise a under-18 tournament. So I know the players who missed out on this tournament on the age grade. I was the first one who missed out by
Really?
8 days of playing for New Zealand against Australia in 1991.
No way.
But if I was Australian, I could have played because that was the 1st of January date, and New Zealand had the first day of the tournament. So that was obviously 1991, where they're still working on the rules and working out how we're going to operate.
Yeah.
So so obviously New Zealand and Australia have had that competition for juniors since 1991. And then of course I came through university, played for the New Zealand men's team. We got the silver medal in Canada. I still remember 1999 in South Africa, losing to South Africa about 12-0. So it's a big scar that Liam and Benson and I all carry with us.
Yeah.
And so it's probably, it drives us to always be better than we were tomorrow, and looking forward. And then of course New Zealand made the decision in 2004 to send the juniors, because some Great Britain team won in 2002, and I was a little bit gutted that we didn't have our juniors there to.
We'd have beat you if you'd have come. Just saying.
Oh well, maybe. So I basically retired at that stage and took over coaching the junior boys team. Obviously did Christchurch, and then came here in 2006 with Ed, who's coaching the 24 men, and so I carried on, did the junior girls, and then picked up the women's team, and then obviously there was a little bit of 2006 to 2009, that little bit of a split, and got asked to take on that tournament director role.
Okay.
And so done that for the last 10 years till CMAS decided to change the rules, and basically fired me. So I'm back coaching and really loving it.
Yeah, and your girls are smashing their division. We'll talk about hockey maybe a little bit later. I know you also wanted to talk a little bit or throw some things out to the audience about the future of kind of worlds and qualification and things like that. So why don't you go ahead with that?
Yeah, we're obviously at a commission level and more my role level, thinking about the future. And at the moment, we're not talking for age groups yet because it's a lot smaller tournament. But at obviously the Elites and Masters tournament, I wrote a white paper that we discussed in 2016 in Stellenbosch about going to a 4-year cycle and going to qualification for Worlds. And to me, at the moment, if we stay out of Europe, I think we pretty much have reached the capacity, although the Asian countries with the SEA Games now, there's 4 or 5 active countries there, plus China, plus Japan. If they turn up to Worlds, I'm thinking we're over capacity in terms of teams, and then we're going to have a fair process
Okay.
to select the teams that attend the Worlds.
Right.
So at this stage, I've written it up in a request for hosts, just giving some ideas, having some discussion, doing some consultation, and then of course over the next couple of months I'll write it up and present it in Worlds in Gold Coast in next year.
Okay.
And try and obviously make some decisions to move move the sport forward at obviously Elites and Masters. So it's not to do away with Masters, because that's another idea. We could split, into 2 tournaments. It's actually to keep them together. Proposal I'm kind of thinking of is we limit it to 12 teams, which gives everybody a full round robin, so everybody gets to play each other, and we find out who is the best.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Well, any ideas you can accept? I don't know. Can they send
Absolutely.
ideas to you? You're open to
send the
suggestions?
emails through, because obviously that feedback is really
Yeah.
important.
Okay.
I know America and USA and Canada are not so happy about it, but unfortunately, it's just logistics. If we have 52 teams, that's basically the number that we've got capacity for. That's the assumption being we've got 10 or 12 Masters teams in both grades.
Right.
And we've got 16 to 20 teams in the elite men's and women's. And,
Okay. So suggestions to Tristan if you've got any ideas of how this can work. I've just got one question for the quiz tonight because I'm itching to get in and play. Just watch your mic. Don't hold your mic at the bottom there, Tristan, because I think it cuts out. So just one question for you guys, and you can just kind of pass the mic back and forth with your answers. How many, in the round robin of the whole tournament, how many clean sheets do you think there have been? By a clean sheet, I mean how many teams have not conceded a goal in a game, or how many times has that happened? Do you understand, Tom? So I went through all the scores, and I counted up how many zeros there were. So how many zeros do you think there were in all of the games so far? So anyone, if you think you know, give a number. If you can play along at home.
I didn't know the grid. I should say maybe 15?
50, okay.
Yeah.
50.
Let's say 15.
Okay, Tristan, what do you think?
I think probably 50.
50 as well? Did you say 52? Yeah.
Clean sheet.
Clean sheet. So how many zeros have there been on the scores?
100.
You go 100. Okay, so 50, 100.
No, yes, I won't think so many.
Okay.
I think it will be less than 10.
Less than 10 clean sheets.
Well, we've had the competition was in most of the divisions was very close.
Yeah.
3-1, 2-1, and then there were a few runaways. As New Zealand clubbed a few teams, and South Africa and the French also. But I think it'll be
Do you
less
want
than
the answer? Do you want the answer?
8.
62. 62 clean sheets this tournament. So when I say clean sheets, that's like 12-0, that's one clean sheet, or even
Well,
0-0
that's,
would be
interesting.
2 clean sheets, but there's been no 0-0s at all this tournament. Yeah. So there you go. That was your quiz for tonight. It's a very quick one. What we'll do next, the reason I wanted to get kind of you three on the sofa is because us, if I'm the GB representative, then us four kind of represent the 4 nations that have got all teams in all 4 divisions, which is good for what we're going to do next, which is go through the divisions and look at the knockouts, and we can give kind of our perspectives, and we'll have kind of how do you think this is going to go? How do you think that's going to go? So we'll start with the under-19 women's division, and there was one game in there today which really kind of changed things, and it was GB versus France, actually. In the under-19 women's division, they're the teams that are fighting out for 3 and 4. They had a game today. It was a very high-scoring game. We got some highlights here. So it was a first goal from France. If we can see it when it comes up on the video. So first goal from France here, I thought was a really nice turn from that girl, and then she just kind of flicked it straight in the goal. 2-0. Your number 6 here, Tom Tess Fourquier. Really nice diagonal swim. She's like, oh, no one's going to tackle me. Here I go. Go straight through this girl and pops it into the goal for 2-0. That was a score at half time. Then Pearl Winter here makes a great swim. She's got her friend diving down there to help her. Really good team player there, coming down to help Pearl, diving down there, put it in the goal. 3-1, French team goal. I think what really separated the teams here was that the French swam. When they swam in threes, whereas the GB girls kind of swam in 1s and 2s. 3-2, Tegan Alexander with a great goal here. And then 4-2, nice. Oh no, I think we missed that one. This is Tegan Alexander's goal. She did a basically carbon copy of your number 6 there. Then this one, I think we got these in the wrong order. But there we go. I'm not sure who scored that one. I think we've kind of got these the wrong way around. And then Abby Calvert with a nice pick there to make it 5-3. Final score was actually 6-3. We missed the last goal. I don't know, you're the under-24 women's coach, aren't you? But do you know much about the under-19s? How are they doing?
I know, 2 years ago they were mixed. There was not 2 different teams.
Okay.
And so our ladies were playing in under-24, under-23 it was. But there were a girl from under-19 already playing the team. So I knew a few of them.
Okay.
And, some of them are just playing since 2 years.
Wow.
But they are learning. They want to learn and their coach are quite used to play hockey. And so they're quite good. They're learning. For most of their, maybe except 2, it's their first championship.
Yeah.
And they're quite good.
I think that's the thing with under-19s. Almost all of them here, it's pretty much their first tournament. They're that young, with the exception of maybe New Zealand, because you have so many schools championships and things like that. So maybe it may be their first Worlds, but maybe a bit more experienced. Which, if we look at kind of the results and table and how it's going to shape up in that division now, maybe that's the reason why, Tristan, that your girls are just absolutely kind of running away with this division. Let's have a look at the. I think we've got the rest of the results here from today. I think they pretty much all went as expected. The only close one was the one we talked about, the France GB game that ended 6-3. That was the one that could have gone either way. If we look at how the table finished, because we're at the end of the round robin now, remember. So here's the table. New Zealand running away with it. Colombia looked pretty safe in second there. And it's that GB France battle that's really going to decide the bronze medal, I think. We can have a look at how it's going to shape up now moving forward. 4 is going to play 5 for the chance to play New Zealand in the semi-final, and then the other semi-final, France v Colombia. So I think, I don't know, what do you guys think? How do you think that's going to shape up?
What to say? I just when I watch this, I'm just I have the feeling that New Zealand is just untouchable. It's very impressive.
Yeah, they look untouchable. I think they really do. I don't know how they've conceded maybe 3 goals. God knows how many they've scored. Of all of the teams, of all of the divisions, they just look like they're just the ones that are way up there. The real Colombia also, as we saw in the table, if the round robin has served as anything, Colombia looked pretty nailed on for second, I think you'd say, and then the real battle there is for the bronze medal. But who knows? Anything can happen, right, in knockout hockey. Should we move on then to the under-19 men's? Under-19 men's. So my feature game here was South Africa v France. The footage wasn't. If we just pause there, sorry, don't run the clips yet. It was a wide open game. Both teams were playing in the middle of the pool for here. South Africa seemed to play that style, which is really, really nice. I know you were commentating on it, I heard this morning, Hein. Footage wasn't that great first half, but I'll run through kind of how it went. France got a goal early to make it 1-0. Then it was a penalty shot, 1-1 for South Africa. France responded straight away to make it 2-1. Then 2-2, a nice goal from South Africa. Then South Africa got another penalty shot to go ahead and make it 3-2. And what I liked about these penalty shots is They kind of set up the same way. I think is it Liam, your captain in the end? Yeah. So he takes it. He had a guy here. Liam's a right-hander. First one, he swam up to the guy, dummied him and put it in. And then the second one, the guy was really thinking he's going to do the same thing, but they set up the exact same way, and he kind of faded that way and then just chipped it across, and he put it in, which was quite nice. And then 3-3, France levelled up before half-time. 3-4, South Africa went ahead. Then 4-4. Then I picked it up with some footage, and this was really in the dying moments of the game. South Africa get a penalty goal here, if we can see. So South African guy makes a nice break. All the whole game played in the middle of the pool, as I said. There's no wonder it ended so high scoring. So he's on away here. The referees called this up. I can only imagine that the French guy fouled him. Got sent out for 5 minutes, and the French had another guy sent out, so it was 6-on-4, and South Africa managed to kind of kill the game almost at the end there with a really nice breakaway. France did end up getting a consolation. I think the game finished 6-5. Hein, why don't you start? You were watching that game, I know. What did you think?
Well, except now for the high-scoring game in that match, it was an open game. It was good to watch, it was good to commentate on, it was good hockey. Nobody stood back. From South Africa's side is that we fought hard for our goals and we gave easy goals away.
Yeah.
The French didn't, they were very good on defence, very good structure, and they play a very tight game where South Africa like to open it up. Because we've got some speedsters and we want to get the puck to flow. Fortunately for us, some of the calls went against the French team, and with the two guys sitting out in the last 2-3 minutes, made it easy.
That helped.
Not easier, that helped us just to finish it off.
But then that said, you were 6-on-6 when you got the breakaway and the penalty goal. It was
Yes.
just the last one maybe that you were 6-on-4. Yeah.
It happens. Most of these breakaway goals happen when you're on defence, and all of a sudden somebody just pops out, puts extreme pressure on your defender or your attacking team. All of a sudden now has got to defend, and everybody's in the goal box, and some oak swims out, and you've got to stop that thing.
Yeah.
So you'd rather stop it by causing infringement and getting the goal away. But the refs are really, this year it seems like we've got some very good refs in the water, making some very good calls, and we're very happy. The French, being good players, it was unfortunate for the French. We had a good game against Spain as well today. And the Spain being the outsider black horse, all of a sudden they were on the log. Nobody expected the Spanish team to come back so strongly, and we had a good game against the Spanish, and we just rolled on over onto France.
Let's have a look at the rest of the results today, and then the table, and again the route to the final. So the rest of the results today, the real one that we talked about there was the South Africa-France game. That was the real tight one. New Zealand had a narrow win against France, and then nearer the bottom of the table, Canada and Argentina played out a 1-1 draw. We can look at the table, how it's finished there. This is a bit of a tighter division, I'd say, than the under-19 women's. New Zealand still at the top, and again, I'd have to say, look reasonably untouchable, not quite as untouchable as the under-19 women's. And then it gets really interesting. 2, 3, 4, 5 really were all batting, all had really, really close games. GB will be pretty happy that they've managed to finish second. And the game tomorrow to watch is going to be the 4-5. If we look at the route to the final, that 4-5 game is France-Spain is going to be a belter. New Zealand luckily have got a bye now straight into the semi-final. If everything goes to plan, the 2v7 and the 3v6 should go as we thought, but that France-Spain game is going to be the one to watch tomorrow for me, I think. Your boy's going to be ready for it, Tom?
I didn't see the match today, but I heard it was very close, and so everything can happen.
Yeah.
We just have to wait and see what's happening.
Yeah.
In every match, you never know, except maybe when New Zealand is beating everybody. No, but you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes just a miss, just on a bad flick, or and you can have a goal. So everyone, the two teams have to be very careful of how they play, not make any faults, and be careful of.
Fouls.
Have to be,
yeah.
And the referees are important too.
Yeah.
Just they have to be
consistent.
And watch the match very carefully, and everybody has to respect this.
Yeah, I think you're right. That one really could go either way. That's my pick for tomorrow. That's the one to watch. We'll move on to the under-24 women's now, and Tom, this is your division, but I
Yes.
didn't pick your game. I'm sorry. There was one game in there that I think was a game changer today, and that was one of the first games in the morning. It was Columbia GB. We'll look through some highlights. GB had a great result yesterday, but they looked lethargic to start in this game. Columbia putting loads of bodies on the bottom, and that was the difference in the first half. I picked out their first 2 goals, but they were both kind of the same theme here. Columbia just piling bodies into the goal. 4-0 at half-time. GB tried to mount a comeback with a great swim from the girl out of the subs box here. Makes a great... So I thought she was going to go all the way. She beats one, turns, and then someone looks like she's going to tackle her, but she keeps going. She obviously had a full set of lungs from the subs box. I thought she was going to score. She didn't quite. GB did mount a comeback. It was 4-1, 4-2, 5-2. Game finished 5-3. So I know the GB girls will be disappointed with that, but they're looking forward to the knockout. And this is a division that is wide
Crazy.
open. This is wide open, this one. We can look at the rest of the results quickly and then probably just skip to the table, because I think it's going to be really interesting to look at the table here. There wasn't a close New Zealand-South Africa game at the end of the day, but New Zealand at the top and looking pretty safe. Obviously, they lost to Great Britain yesterday, but I think they're more beatable maybe than the teams in the other division. They've had some really close results. GB have beaten them already. And then really that's the 1 to 5 there, wide open, really wide open. Again, obviously tomorrow the 4-5 is going to be the one to watch. The Columbia South Africa should be the tightest game. It'll be, if we look at the way it's going to pan out, New Zealand again lucky enough to get a bye straight to the semi-final, and then we'll see how that's going to play out. France, Netherlands, and then if it goes to plan, we're looking at a France GB there, Tom.
Maybe, yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard game. I know
That's
the
good.
GB are playing at home, and I
Yeah.
think they would play 7. No.
Yeah, well the crowd's going to be their 7th player.
So
Yeah.
we know we are supposed to play them at any time, maybe in
Mm.
semi-final or final. But we are
Yeah.
afraid.
That'll be one to watch, maybe not for tomorrow, but for the next day.
Yeah.
Right, we're whizzing through this show because I can't wait to get in and actually play some hockey myself. Under 24 men, Australia, France. Now this one was there were lots of sending outs in this one. It was 0-0 half time, and then it all happened in the second half. By the looks of the table, France should have won this one, but Australia seemed to be kind of warming up into this tournament, and let's see the highlights and we'll talk through it. France will be disappointed with this one. Advantage puck, flick, and just straight in the goal. France really weren't ready for that. Penalty shot here for the French to make it 1-1. It didn't go in, but it was awarded. And then look how quick that Australian gets down for that. He's down and on the puck before the French guy knows what's going on. We'll see it in slow-mo. Gets his arms down, his legs up, and he's down like a shot. And look, when he's on the puck now, and the French guy's nowhere near the bottom. So it really was a great penalty shot, and he had it in the goal before the French guy really knew what was going on. That made it 2-1. I did feel sorry for the French. As I said, lots of players sent out. There was a supposed headshot here, which is not coming up. So this guy lays it off, and then I think, not quite yet. It's gone a bit slow, a bit too early, but he's going to pass it to the guy coming down, the number 9 there, who puts what I thought was a nice flick in a second. It's nice and slow. He puts a nice flick in, nowhere near, in my mind, nowhere near anyone's head. You see it land there, but the referees threw the poor guy out for 2 minutes, which was the rest of the game. And France, who looked like they were coming back into the game, had to play out 6v4 and just had no chance of getting back into it. So another interesting division. We can see the rest of the results. Most games, I think, here just going according to plan. Turkey-France was a belter at the end. It finished 4-3, but that was a real close game. Turkey had France under a lot of pressure. France with a couple of penalty shots. But that was a real good one to finish the day. We'll look at the table. And there's a really interesting, if we pause it there, really interesting 3-way tie at the top. Now, I'm going to get my teacher hat on here for the explaining, because I've had lots of people ask me how that worked out. Because if you look at goals conceded, New Zealand have conceded the least, so they, in theory, should be top. However, apparently this is how a tie is broken. If there's a 3-way tie, goals conceded is the first one. So Turkey are eliminated from that because they've conceded the most. And then the second thing to decide it is the result against the remaining 2 teams. The remaining 2 teams are GB and New Zealand. GB beat New Zealand, which is why GB got top. Now that's beautiful for any GB fans out there, because that's pretty much the only way it could work out that would put GB at the top. So obviously we're happy, but similarly in this division, the top 5 can all beat each other, in my view. Australia, if they play like they did today, you can also include them in that mix. Let's have a look at the kind of how it plays out. If we can look at how it plays out here, 4v5 again, always 4v5 is going to be the one to watch there. South Africa, France, that's going to be a real tight game. I was speaking to one of our support staff here as well, and he thinks that the Turkey-Australia game is going to be one to watch. If Australia can play like they played today, he thinks they could give Turkey a good game. Contrasting styles there as well. Obviously Turkey pretty much route one and physical. Australia traditionally like to open it up. I should mention as well the bottom 3 teams, Canada, Argentina and Belgium, who have a really weird way of playing out the bottom. I think they do 9v11, then the winner plays 10, then the winner of 10, I don't know, I don't really know frankly, but they have a little weird way to work out 9, 10 and 11. I think it's 9v11. Someone check this out.
I think
today.
It's 9v10. Loser plays 10 versus.
That's what I'd have thought. Okay, that's what I'd have thought. But yeah, okay, fine. However it works, they're going to play out for 9
So that
11.
3-way split, that was Castellon, and we ended up when we had 2 points, 1 point, and 0.
Oh yeah.
We actually had 4 teams in a split. When New Zealand was 1 point behind, but there was 2 draws and 3 draws, and Colombia never won, and they had all the draws. And so they ended up top, and so that's when we changed the points in the rules to go to 3 for a win, 1 for a draw, 0 for the loss.
Okay.
And it just allows you to split
it's a bit easier.
A bit easier
to
and,
separate teams, yeah.
And obviously you've seen that there.
Yeah, it's
goals,
interesting.
The goals are always what counts, and I know that New Zealand guys were obviously today and yesterday were trying.
Well, I saw some New Zealand guys this afternoon, and they were like, "So how's it work? Are we top or what?" And they didn't know.
No.
Going into this, so I had to
a couple of us had
a
chat, so they were all aware, but the coaches were aware.
Okay.
But they hadn't talked it over with the players.
Well, what's his name? Sam Pavia, or
Ben Pavia Smith.
Ben, that's it. I think it was Ben that came to speak to me. Yeah, sorry, Ben. Yeah, he didn't seem to know, and a few of the others were like, "What?" Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Now, this is an interesting part of the show, which is a kind of a regular feature. This is what were they thinking? Now, before we run any VTs, Zoe Hyam, bless her, she's an under-24 women's player. And she must be a big fan of this show because she just wants to get on this feature every night because she does something every day. You might remember those of you that watched the first episode, she was the one I slow-moed bouncing over the top and getting done by an Argentinian girl. So that was 1. She's going for the hat-trick. Number 2, apparently in a GB France game, she was sent to the sin bin for 2 minutes and it was a really close game, but the referee kind of touched her to move her to the middle and she just jumped back in straight away and then got sent straight back out. So there's number 2 for the what were you thinking. Number 3, today they had a game and she played for the first 5 minutes with the wrong colour bat. Didn't notice. Referees eventually found out, told her she had the wrong colour bat. She argued with them. She's like, no, I haven't, looking at her bat. Got sent to the sin bin and then apparently was meant to stay in the sin bin but started swimming over to the spare kit box to try and get her other bat and then was sent back to the sin bin. Zoe, what are you going to do tomorrow? Like, really? If you want to come on the show, you just got to ask. Okay, now this is the bit of the show where we do run some VTs and talk about what were they thinking. I ran another thing on what were they thinking, what were they doing, so let's run it. This comes from yesterday's game, GB New Zealand in the under-24 women's, and it's really a warning. Learn your buzzer. They all go up. There's no buzzer. One girl's on it, she goes down. Even the cameramen didn't know what was going on. Play on a bit longer. And they all go up again. Apart from that goal, who scores? That was the first goal in the GB New Zealand game. I did warn them, know your buzzer. Now, we pass over to Tristan and Hein. They can talk us through this one. This is when the Turkey...
Yeah, okay, yeah. Right, so this is the Turkish game against, was it against New Zealand there, Tristan?
Yeah, that's New Zealand. So ended up 5-1. Obviously a bit of a melee in the goal tray.
Yeah, it was 1-0 half time, eh? So that was first half was 1-0. Let's see the guys there on the tray.
Puck pops out.
And
Puck pops out and they keep fighting.
Okay, what's nice is to see as well, look at the ref's position there, Tristan. Perfect position for the refs. You see what's going on. 2 on the wall there in the back wall.
So the puck's just had popped out. Where does it advance to? We're going to forward that through a little bit.
And the guys are still highly contesting, yeah. And
He notices.
nobody picks it up.
Yeah,
The pop comes out.
So it looks like a bit of a washing machine in there.
Show. Live and kicking. We're off for the refs and volunteers game, Tom. Let's go.
Right, go. Go and have fun. Get wet. Cheers.
Behind, they just dumped us in it.
That's a show. Cheers, guys.
Live and kicking from Manchester with Matthew now wet.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.